So it seems like there is nonstop news coming out of these big cities all over the world, and it is not good news. Now, Chicago, Illinois was in the news this weekend. It's a city near and dear to me, one of my home cities, up there with Dallas, Texas, and Seoul, South Korea. And it is just heartbreaking because on one hand, it's not surprising, right? It's a Democrat-run city, Lori Lightfoot, which, is being swapped out with another guy who just got elected. But it's just indicative of a deeper issue that is going on across the world. Now, I can talk about, race. We can talk about education. We can talk about parenting. We can talk about all these things all day long. But I want to touch on some higher level issues. Now, first of all, the news was that just over the weekend, just tons of just teenagers and young adults, they were swarming downtown, basically. And it was just leading to this mob fest, sparking just all these different, looting or people being attacked, people being shot. It was just unruly, right, to say the least. And then other news was that 4 Walmarts are now officially closing. And these are the 4 closest Walmarts to the downtown area. Now, across the U.S., some of this stuff is, it's been there, right? So San Francisco, you've had just this whole crime fest of stealing. You have all these laws being passed. It's a slap on the wrist if you're caught, stealing and things like that. New York, let's not even go there. LA, many other cities, right? So they're all because, in some sense, because of the laws that are being passed and perpetuating some of the crime that's going on. But one thing that you've got to realize, right, from a big picture perspective, is that I've been talking about this for a while, and this is stuff that people don't want to believe. But it is that there's a global world order that is systematically trying to destroy your livelihood. I've played some videos before about this creed of the globalist cabal. They're trying to divide you. They're trying to suppress the normal population. They're trying to get you on all of this just negative stuff. I've talked about health recently. They're trying to poison you, trying to give you heavy metals. So from a very small or a very young age, these kids, right, everything that has perpetuated a broken society, from the economic system of the poor getting poorer, people not being able to get out of poverty, all the way down to just this race war. The race war is being driven down your throat through things like critical race theory and just many others, right? And it's allowing people to really doubt their identity and all these issues. And it's because a lot of it is being pushed by the mainstream media, by the global elite, and they're trying to sow a seed of discord, of division, and various things, color revolutions, and all this stuff to try to get you into an elementary level of animalistic livelihood. And so that's why a lot of people are not moving out of it, because it's being perpetuated in culture and society. And so that's why you can talk all day about a fatherless society. You can talk about the black community. You can talk about the underrepresented, the minority community, the poor, just this whole socioeconomic divide, and many of these things. But a lot of it is being perpetuated from the top down. And so that's why leadership matters a lot. And so you see some of, whether it's a left-leaning, liberal, Democrat-run city versus the stark distinction in some of the conservative, and I don't know, I don't even want to put Republican in that name, but just these other non-liberal, non-woke led cities, and how different it is. Just any stat, you pull up any stat about crime, pull up any stat about these things, and you can see clearly what's going on. And then don't even get me started on the defund the police movement, right? Police, getting rid of police, and all that stuff. Look at how it's working out in some of these cities like San Francisco and many other places, Portland, Oregon. And so I've been to Portland, I've been to San Francisco, I've been to all these cities. I've actually, because of my consulting lifestyle that I've had for many years, I've had projects and I've stayed 3-4 nights a week after week. I remember traveling to Portland, Oregon for an entire year, every single week. And in contrast to somewhere like San Diego for an entire year, week after week, New York, all these cities. So I've had firsthand knowledge of some of these cities, downtown especially, and what's going on, especially, well, this is a little bit before COVID, but during that time, right, I've had a lot of exposure, and it's very disturbing. It's very distinct what it is when it's a Democrat or liberal woke run city versus the other side. And so a lot of these companies, sadly, like the Walmart's closing, they're not going to say it outright, but you know why it is, right? It's because they're losing profits. People are stealing. If you see some of the videos of these Walmarts being just stormed, right, ransacked, and in some sense, how do you blame these people? Because they're starving, they're trying to get food on their table, they're being squeezed out because of inflation, because of what's going on with jobless, unemployment, all these things. And then, like I've said, the perpetuating of this society, of this division, sowing that these guys are doing, the globalist cabal, whether it's the George Soros run movement with these Antifa and just these guys that are rioting, Black Lives Matter, the evil part of the Black Lives Matter being sugar-coated as being just this racially equity type of movement, but really there's something deeper going on there. And so all these things are compounding to what's very sadly an issue that is just going across all these cities. And if you just move it, if you expand it out to even other countries, right? You have France. People are not covering what's happening in Paris, France. It's absolutely terrible what's happening. It's not even a race thing for many of these places. It's just a livelihood thing, as well as being beat down, being just this entire top-down sort of movement to try to get you to put us in our place of being suppressed, being poor, and all these things that are happening. And so it's indicative of a deeper issue. We can talk about, like I've said, parenting and single family and just all these things that people are bringing up. But at the highest level, you've got to fix some of these things, the laws, the rules, the punishment, funding the police, and getting people to realize the consequences, and then teaching people the right things. The education system, absolutely in shambles. What are these people teaching in school? And so all these things are things that are coming from essentially these globalist guys, and they're not willing to change it. And so these things are being more and more brought out into the open. People are seeing it, right? Instead of pointing fingers at each other, oh, this white-black issue, oh, this race issue, all this, all these issues that are a meaningless, smaller issue, it's being propagated, perpetuated by this continual movement that media, that negative people, celebrities, influencers, these guys that are told what to do, MK Ultra, all these mind control, brainwashing, propaganda movements, all these things are happening, and people are waking up to what's really going on. And so that's why this stuff, in some sense, it has to happen so that you can wake up and realize why, these mayors, these leaders, these people are not good, right? And then also to have a desire to bring you to the precipice so that you would desire change. You could see somebody committing an act, and you as a person, even in that community, you don't want to act that way. You don't want to be that sad, animalistic, whatever term you want to use. You don't want to resort to that level. And so people are learning through this process, and it's happening for a reason. It's sad what's happening, but it's inevitable for you to wake up. So I've been saying before, it's a waking up season, and it's a season to get you to turn these things around, whether it's health, training your child up in the ways of the Lord, getting their health right so that they're not struggling with all these things that could be prevented because of good diet. Get rid of some of these things, heavy metals, food dyes, all these things that people are saying is poisoning their kids, and then get it right from the beginning. Because if you continue to eat these processed foods, if you continue to teach them certain ways, if you continue to bring them to certain schools and to be brainwashed, then it's going to continue this cycle. And then by the time your teenager becomes a teen, they're already in the ways of the world. And so that's why right now we need to counter with the gospel, with the movement of God, and wake people up to this hour. And so again, guys, it's not just Chicago. It's near and dear to me, but there's other cities, other places, other towns and communities and churches, workplaces that are going through some of the same stuff. And you have to wake up, and you have to stop getting into this cycle that they're telling you to operate in. Get out of this matrix and begin to wake up. Train yourself, change yourself, train your kids, your community, and get out of this, and let's build a healthier community in the name of Jesus. So love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.